This version of Peter Parker is the reason I struggle with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, amongst other issues. After watching the series and reading its superior tie-in comic, I realized why this show felt so frustrating to sit through. Originally pitched as an origin story for the Homecoming trilogy, the series went through some development hell, shifting from freshman year to the title we have now. Despite an art style meant to emulate classic comics and an interesting premise, Peter, under the mentorship of Norman Osborn, it ultimately falls flat. Going to die! And the biggest problem? Peter Parker himself. I watched every episode hoping for something to click, but outside of the final episode, the series left me feeling bored and disappointed. And now, looking back, I think I understand why. But before I get into that, welcome to my channel. My name is Vaderfly. I talk about pop culture, life, and essays, and I want to say thank you so much for subscribing and following and liking and sharing the content. We are now at 1,000 subscribers, which I can't say enough. Thank you guys so much for helping me reach that goal before the end of the year. And now I'm hoping to hit 2,000 before the end of this year. And we're just gonna keep growing and growing from there. Needless to say, you are helping me provide a dream that I've been wanting to do since I was a kid on this platform. So, needless to say, thank you, and let's go ahead and get into the video. In my video on Batman Cape Crusader, which you should go check out, I have been shilling that video for the longest time. Help me help you watch that video. That is a video I feel that is very important to complete the conversation for this video. Go watch that first and then we'll come back. Go ahead, I'll be waiting. Did you watch it? Okay. Well, it's good to have you back. Make sure to get yourself a drink and like, share, and subscribe. Yeah! Ugh. I felt good. I discussed a problem plaguing modern TV, especially animated series, the streaming model. Studios dump out seasons of 10 to 12 episodes, but in reality, they're treating these as testing grounds. If the show gets good enough numbers, they'll keep going, but this forces writers to cram as much as they can into short bursts, which often results in rushed surface-level storytelling. This show suffers badly from the tell, don't show problem.
Strike that. Reverse it.
I'm in show, don't tell. Oh my gosh. Alright. I'm okay. Critical moments that should be fleshed out, giving us insight into Peter's character, are brushed over. For example, there's a scene where Peter notices Aunt May's overdue bills. He briefly tells his friend Nico that he's using his Oscorp internship money to help her, but doesn't want her to feel bad. This seems like it's setting up a major character-driven conflict, but nothing ever comes of it. Another example, Peter and Lion Lincoln supposedly crushed the science fair, getting the top scores, but we never actually see what they did to deserve this. And moments like this are littered throughout the show. Why does this matter? Because Spider-Man stories thrive on personal stakes. These moments are where we get to know Peter Parker beyond the mask. But instead of developing his character through action, the show just tells us things and moves on. We get to see what makes him different, but they don't show us that. Shady Durag in a video explains this as well.
Bottom line, no matter how insignificant moments may seem in a fictional world, they all help build it. Creators and audiences should take those little moments seriously because, in the grand scheme of things, doing so creates a much more consistent experience and a much more enjoyable work of fiction.
Link in the description below. I do blame the structure of streaming services that really do hold back storytelling because it does hurt the overall product when you have to make sure streamline the process from A to B in a short time frame. Which leads me to my next point. Before you jump in the comments and tell me it's just a different adaptation, let me be clear. I don't hate this version of Peter. In fact, I want to like him, and if given the chance, he could grow into a stronger character in future seasons. But the problem is, they won't let him be Peter Parker. As Wes from Thinking Critical puts it,
that makes you a complete loser. At this point, what Marvel are doing is not nostalgia, it's creative cowardice. They keep rebooting Peter instead of growing him up because they're scared to actually tell real stories. They're scared for Peter Parker to become an actual man. I don't know why they're scared of this, but they continuously reboot the character. You get 70, 80 issues on a run, and it's all deemed meaningless by the time the next reboot happens. And that has been the cycle of Peter Parker for years now, certainly since the end of the Dan Slott run. And even in that case, he consistently rebooted the character back to a beginning state. This new direction is another kind of corporate misfire that the audience is sick of. This is why people are leaving Marvel Comics. They don't, in fact, hate Spider-Man. They hate being treated like idiots.
Once again, clip link will be in the description down below, and you can watch the video from there. For years, Marvel has refused to let Peter go beyond high school. We've now had 3 different high school Peter Parkers under Disney's control. Spider-Man 2017, the Homecoming trilogy, and now Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So the question is, what makes this version different? Honestly, not much. This Peter suffers from something that I see a lot in modern writing: the fear of adversity. He's a good person, sure, but that's all we know about him. Every one of his challenges that he faces, he gets bailed out, or he just skims through them with the simplest of ease. He likes a girl who's dating a jock. No problem, they become cool because he knows science. Harry Osborn finds out Peter is Spider-Man. No drama, they're still best friends. Peter juggles superhero life with school.
Is it gonna be hard for him to figure it out? Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really?
The reason we love to see teenage/young adult heroes is because they are reckless. They are willing to try stuff that older people aren't because they think they know best. And what is the best course of action? We use this archetype to teach lessons of how to grow as a person. And sometimes our actions have consequences. One of the scenes that really gets me is the infamous Scorpion beatdown. Spidey comes in and saves the day, able to save Lonnie, Pearl, and the one-on-one. While fighting, Norman leads him through the fight until he's able to capture him. But he's out of his cartridges. Norman, no longer listening to Peter due to taking out his earpiece, is now on the focus for Otto. Doesn't know what is happening as Scorpion gets out of the confines and fights the webhead to a bloody beatdown, leaving Spidey to leave the battle with Norman's help. We later see him recover from his wounds and talk to Aunt May about this. We see how this is affecting him, due to him not having Uncle Ben, feeling like he is missing him. Maybe he could get that from Norman. But after he gets the advice that he does, Spider-Man takes it at heart and going into the final fight with Scorpion and being stopped by Lonnie. Once again, not able to make his own decisions, everybody else making his decisions for him. Which brings me to this part. This show is about everybody else besides Peter, especially about Lonnie. We're made to follow his story because they want us to feel sorry for his downfall, but I didn't. Every choice was not some fall from grace, but confusing. Another reason goes back to the Tell Don't Show. He joins the one-on-one because his little brother. Sure, noble, but in the end, his little brother we don't have a connection to, so we don't know what is going on with him really or care about this connection. Just telling he's done bad before doesn't give us an idea of what is going on. Maybe there's a disconnection at home. Maybe he does it to help get money for his family. Where we see in previous scenes Lonnie being broke and unable to pay for everyone's lunches, they just swap and that's it. And then Lonnie turns to the dark side is kinda out of nowhere. He doesn't fire back about losing his chances to get a scholarship or when he gets hurt in the fight between the Scorpions. He's just okay with it, what's going on, and accepts his new nickname. This is a constant problem throughout the series, and it leaves the audience member, well, at least me, feeling like there's nothing to really connect with this character about. Now, what bothers me about this is what I stated before. We watch these characters go through the actions from their consequences. We see someone that needs to be taught a lesson in order for them to be better, but the question is, what does he need to be better about? Well, the lesson is he needs to be more confident being Spider-Man. He needs to be his own man, but yet he is saved by his friends. He's saved by everyone around him rather than him being his own man, which is a constant once after he meets up with Norman in the series. At the beginning, we see that he's actually is doing pretty well. Even in the tie-in comic, he's able to figure out what is going on. He's capable, but he is learning and getting better with each battle. When we get to this episode, we don't see that. In fact, they purposely try to nerf him for the needs of the story. So when he gets the advice that he doesn't really push back on it or get mad at Norman. Peter is pretty much neutered in this series, which makes him frustratingly boring. And this is where being a teenager comes into play. Being a teenager is awkward, messy, and full of hard lessons. But this show skips over all of that. Classic Spider-Man stories resonate because Peter is forced to deal with things like heartbreak, failure, and self-doubt. The struggle is what makes him Spider-Man. Peter just doesn't have any agency. Just being a good person isn't enough for me to make me care about the person. If they're saying his favorite hero in this is Captain America, it seems to miss what made Steve special. Sure, he was a good man, but he was willing to make the sacrifice play, fight people that were bigger than him, and give his life for his country. Peter doesn't hold that, and maybe it will be explored in the second season. Another reason why I don't like this streaming format that crams so much that we don't get to explore every possible avenue. For example, look at Danny Phantom.
He's a phantom.
Original idea that's not based off of DC or Marvel, but it is based off the blueprint of Spider-Man, is a show about another teen balancing superpowers in high school. Danny struggles with his powers, with his identity, and with keeping secrets. He faces consequences. In the episode called Bitter Reunion, funny enough, it is the 7th episode of the first season, which, funny enough, gets my point across very greatly. We are first introduced to Vlad, Danny's greatest rival, since he is also a ghost hybrid as well. Danny at this point has never met someone like this, but he is confident due to his other victories. Too confident, only to get thrashed by Vlad. Danny is captured, to be saved by the Cheese King. Once he is released, he realizes he can't fight him on a physical level, so he has to use the tools that are laid out for him, and his smarts to beat him in this episode. Peter, he's the same guy in episode 9 that he was in episode 1. There is no arc, no sense that he's becoming better, and that's what makes him frustrating to watch. There's not a moment where he wants to be something else. He's the same friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we see at the beginning, which he is at the very end. So why did we have to follow this journey? At the core of my disappointment with this show, and with the MCU's handling of Spider-Man, is the absence of Uncle Ben. I get it. I totally get it. People say we don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. And that is true. But Ben isn't just a tragic backstory. He is the heart of what makes Peter Parker Spider-Man. Without Uncle Ben, Peter's heroism feels directionless. Yes, he's a good person. But Spider-Man isn't just about being a good guy. It's about responsibility, the crushing realization that his mistakes led to tragedy. The moment when he realizes that if he doesn't act, people suffer. Even in Homecoming, Peter at least had the moment where he lashed out at Tony, frustrated that his mentor wasn't there for him. That could have been huge in this series. Peter's feeling abandoned, searching for guidance in Norman, only to realize he has to be his own hero. What is so frustrating, he is saddled with people who will eventually be heroes and help him in his adventures, especially with the release that Gwen Stacy / Ghost Spider will be making an appearance in the show, just like they did in the last seasons of Ultimate Spider-Man and also like they did in the Arrowverse shows. This takes away from the character that already didn't feel like they had growth in the first place. Instead, the show brushes past Ben like an afterthought. In doing so, they take away one of the most important aspects of Spider-Man's identity.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Ben is just more than just some old man. He's a father figure to Peter. And he means so much more to Peter to understand and help him grow as a person. But when you take that aspect away, you take away the heart and soul of Spider-Man. Now, if you haven't noticed, this is not a review. I've already done the reviews for these episodes. You can actually find that in the playlist for my shows that I have reviewed. But this is more along the lines of what I truly felt. I didn't hate Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but I can't say I liked it either. It's yet another example of how the streaming model is hurting storytelling, especially in animation. If this had been a traditional TV series with 20 plus episodes, we could have really explored Peter's journey, especially with these quote-unquote seasons. They're usually a greenlit amount of episodes broken down into 10 episode chunks for extra seasons. That's why Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is getting 2 other seasons right after this. It's not because the show is phenomenal, it's because probably this show has been already greenlit for 30 episodes for this series. But instead, we got a rushed, surface-level origin story that left Peter feeling lifeless. Peter Parker is more than just a high school student. He grows, he struggles, and he learns to stand on his own. Right now, this version of Peter isn't there yet, and if season 2 is going to work, they have to let him face real adversity on his own. Because as of now, Peter Parker is the biggest problem of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And that's something I never thought I'd say. So in closing, I hope with this newest season, they really do improve that. They really do let Peter spread his wings and able to do the things like he does in the comics. People seem to always forget that Peter was only in high school for 20 issues in the original run for The Amazing Spider-Man. So we really need to move this character outside of high school and really need to show that this character can be something more. I'm tired of seeing Peter go back to high school. I'm tired of seeing him go back to 7th grade or 8th grade or 9th grade or whatever grade he's in. Let the character grow. The character is an embodiment of all of us, where we can show that we can be better than we were before.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
Thanks for watching. Can we be honest here? Can we just get Mayday Parker, please? Like, she has been screwed over in the comic books, screwed over out of her own projects so many times. Everybody thinks Spider-Gwen's the first alternate Spider-Woman. I mean, she's not. I mean, neither is Mayday. But can we just please get Mayday? It's a badass name. Mayday. Mayday Parker. Same with Cassandra Cain. Cassandra Cain is also a badass, and yet we have screwed her out of her movie too. Just being a comic book fan sucks. Just like this brandy.